All right, this one covers 3-3. So this was all the properties of logs, expanding and condensing using the product, the quotient, and the power property. So this just says rewrite and simplify for numbers 1 and number 2. So the first, and there's a couple of different ways to do these now, right? Because we know mental math, we could have done it the short way, which is raise 5 to what power to get it to be 1 over 125? -3, okay? The other way to do it, so pay attention to instructions because now it says rewrite and simplify. It might say expand and simplify, something like that. So you would rewrite this as log base 5 of 1 minus log base 5 of 125. So you're expanding it, the minus because of the subtraction, because of the division. And then 5 to what power would give you 1? 0. 5 to what power would give you 125? 3, and I still get -3. So if you have a choice, like if it just says simplify it, you can do it any way you want. If it says rewrite or expand and then simplify, you want to make sure that you get that step where you're expanding it. All right, 2, this time we're condensing. So again, I'll show you 2 different ways to do this. Condensing means putting them together. So I would rewrite this. This is a single ln, e to the second times e to the fifth. I'll show you 3 ways to do this one, right? And then because you're multiplying the same base, you could actually combine those into 1 by adding them. And then remember, ln of e cancels to give you the exponent, which would be 7. So again, that's one way to do it. The other way is to take that power and do what with it? Where would a power go? To the front. So this could be 2 ln of e plus 5 ln of e. And then ln of e cancels to give you the exponent, which in this case is 1. 2 times 1 plus 5 times 1. And I'd get 2 plus 5, which is 7.
For this one, you can't just put 2 plus 5.
That's the third way to do it. Yep. So if it said to it condense it and then simplify, you would want to show at least one of those. But if it just says to simplify, then you can go straight to saying, okay, I know this is 2 and this is 5, so 2 plus 5 is 7. Yep. So rewrite is like condense or expand. Yep. And if there's more than one log, you're condensing. If there's only one log, you're expanding. God bless you. You're welcome. We good so far? Okay, so then 3 says expand. So I get ln of x plus ln of y plus ln of z squared. And then the 2 has to come to the front. So ln of x plus ln of y plus 2 ln z. Question was, if this is in parentheses, then each of those individual terms gets the 2. Okay, good question. All right, and then 4 says log base 5 of x to the second minus y to the second over, divided by, my brain's working ahead, divided by y to the second z to the third. So when I separate this out, it would become log base 5 of x to the second. And then it is minus both of these. So you could take the step as minus, put it in parentheses, log base 5 of y to the second z to the third, okay? Or I can go ahead and spread those out as well. If I were to do it from within the parentheses, this would be y to the second plus log 5 z to the third. But the minus is in front, which tells you what? It's going to get distributed to both of those. So I end up with log base 5 of x to the second minus log base 5 y to the second minus log base 5 z to the third. So pretty much everything with a minus is going in a denominator and vice versa. If it's in the denominator, when you expand it, it would get the minus. And then each of these exponents goes to the front of their individual log statement. So 2 log base 5 of x minus 2 log base 5 of y minus 3 log base 5 of z. And I would say the most common mistake made on these is not distributing the negative to the last one. If they're both in the bottom, they both get a minus. Did I answer your question, Julia? Oh, Maria, it was yours, yeah. Isabel.
Is it
No, so it's, well, because simplified is a tricky word here. It's the most expanded with the exponent on the front, okay? When you're simplifying, you could, if you can simplify that, so if like, let's say this was like 5 and 5, then it doesn't matter, because you're either doing 1 to the second power, you'd either cancel this, right? This would give me 1, and I'd be doing 2 times 1, or I'd be doing log base 5 of 5 squared, and then these cancel, and I get 2 either way. So if you're simplifying, no matter which order you do it in, whether the power's at the front or on the exponent, you should get the same answer. But if it says to expand, then you want the powers on the front. Pedro.
If I were to just condense that, how would we know which one to do first?
For the power, you mean?
No.
Or for the,
For the logs.
anything that's going to have a minus is going to the bottom. So it doesn't matter if you separate it out or not. The first log would go in the top, and then both the ones that have the minus would go in the bottom. So minus goes to bottom, plus stays in the top.
How come it's not like a plus with between the 2 log and the 3 log?
Because they're both in the bottom.
Multiplication, so it's like the y's.
Right, but if I split it up, it's a minus the multiplication of this. So when that gets expanded, it goes to addition, but the minus is for both. Does that make sense? So if it said, let's say it said log base 5 x squared. Actually, let me do it the other way. So 2 log minus 3 log base 5y plus 2 log base 5z. Let's say it said something like that, okay? If you did it individually, right? If I broke out just those 2 first, there's a division problem, right? So this would be log base 5 x squared over y to the third, and then plus 2 log base 5 of z. The plus now means what? Multiplication. So that would go to the top. So it would be log base 5 x squared plus log, because z squared, over y to the third. So when it's expanded and you're condensing, anything that's got a minus is going to be in the denominator, anything with a plus is in the numerator. And when you have it condensed and you're expanding, anything in the numerator is going to be a plus, anything in the denominator is going to be a minus. Okay? No matter how many terms, no matter what order it's in, that rule still applies. Everybody good on the warm-up? Yes? Okay. All right, so this is 45 from the homework. So this problem said log base 5 of 1 over 250. So the first thing you should do is expand it, which is like this. So I get log base 5 minus log base 5 of 250. The minus is because of the division. Log base 5 of 1 becomes 0 minus log base, so this would be 0 minus log base 5 of 250. So 250 itself, if you can't identify that that's not a power of 5, then you would break it down. So I could break this down like 25 and 10, and this is 5 and 5, and this is 5 and 2. So that is 3 5s and a 2. You with me so far?
Is that 2 and multiply?
That 2 being multiplied. Yeah, so technically it's like that. So now I can actually break this apart further, right? I can say this is negative log base 5 of 5 to the third. Now this minus is going to go to both, so I could write it like this. Plus log base 5 of 2. So both of those are negative. Negative log base 5 of 5 to the third minus log base 5 of 2. Now this can be simplified, right? Log base 5 of 5 would cancel out and leave me with my exponent. And I end up with negative 3 minus log base 5 of 2. 5 cannot be raised to power to give you 2. So it stays like this. So if you have one that does not go in evenly, you've got to break it down to the point that it makes sense. And then simplify as much as you can. Questions? All right, so if I'm going to expand this, it would look like what first?
Log 1 of 4
Good. So this is the easy part, right? That's what?
0.
So 4 obviously cannot be raised to a power to get to be 24, which means you've got to figure out how to break 24 down so that it can be simplified. So 24 would be what?
4 squared and 3.
4 and 6, right? Or 2 squared and 2 and 3. Either way, you can look at that, okay? But easiest thing to do is get it to be a power of itself. So that 4 I would leave alone, okay? So now I get log base 4 of 4 times 6. That breaks down into negative log base 4 of 4 minus log base 4 of 6, because it would have been addition, but the negative gets distributed to both.
You can't break the 4 and 6 into 3.
You can, but it's not going to help you. I mean, you can split 6 to be log base 4 of 2 plus log base 4 of 3, but it's not going to help you simplify it. Actually, the 2 will. Yeah. Let's keep going. But the 3 won't. Does that make sense? So this would be negative log base 4 of 3 minus log base 4 of 2 times 3.
Yep.
They both get a minus, so it's log base 4 of 3. Still with me? So 6 gets broken down to 2 and 3. It would be addition, but there's a negative on the front. They both get the negative. You could have done it from here, right? And they would have all been negative. Anthony?
Why isn't the log 2 and the log 3 adding?
Because the negative on the front is going to go to both. So when you break 6 down, it's still minus that. So it would be minus the addition, but that minus goes to both. Does that make sense? Okay, so now log base 4 of 4 is what? 1, so this is negative 1. Log base 4 of 2, 1/2, and log base 4 of 3 is going to stay that way. So this is negative, and you can change this so it's the same, 3/2 minus log base 4 of 3. And that's as simplified as it gets. Yep.
Is that negative like distributes or something?
Yep. Think about taking this and condensing it. You should get back to your 24, right? If I condense that, I get negative log base 4 of 4 over 2 times 3. Well, they're all negative, so the negative would go to both. It would all be in the bottom. That would be 1 over. Yep. It would be log. This is negative, and this is negative. So it would be 1 over 4 times 2 times 3. And then I get log base 4 of 1 over 24, which is how we started. Questions? Oh.